Have you ever wondered why some creators are stacking retainers and stacking brand deals left and right? They are posting from a place of overflow and they are filming with an energy that just makes brands want to keep coming back for more. While other creators, they're doing all the right things, right? They're pitching, they're posting, they're showing up every single day, and they still feel like they are pushing a boulder up a hill. Today, I'm going to show you why that's happening, and I promise you, it's not what you think it is. I'm Blakely. I'm building the largest UGC education channel on the internet, and if you want to turn your phone into a brand deal retainer machine and actually build a business that feels good to run, you are in the right place. Okay, now here is the lie that most UGC creators and content creators in general are believing right now. They're like, I just need a better strategy, right? I just need better pitches, a better portfolio. I need more content. I need more volume. I just need to be doing more of what I'm currently doing. Like if I just do more of what I'm already doing, eventually it's going to click. And look, I believed that too. I'm actually in a 7-week sprint right now. I'm currently on track to get my personal UGC business to 20K months. And every week for the next 7 weeks, I'm going to refine one system within my business or one portion of my business. And so last week was the first week and I went all in on systems. So I looked at my pitching system, my content system, my follow-up, every little tiny system in my business. I looked at it with a critical eye. I analyzed it. I had mentors look at it with a critical eye and I analyzed it. I was looking for all of the little gaps, all of the little leaks. I expected to find these big things wrong with like my pitching or like my content, or like I was like, there's got to be something big wrong with my systems, right? That I'm going to be able to just go in there and it's going to change the whole game in my business. And yes, there were absolutely things to tighten up, but the real leaks blew my mind, okay? They were not in my business at all. They were actually in my mind and in my daily life. And the second that I saw that, telling you, everything changed for me. It felt like overnight. So here's what I want you to understand before we cover anything else in this episode. Most creators who are stuck, they're stuck because they're trying to 2x, okay? So they're just trying to pitch more, post more, work longer hours, grind harder, just do more. And there is a ceiling to that approach, okay? Because at some point, you're already doing a lot. And more of the same just produces more of the same, okay? But 10x, if you've never read the book, 10x is easier than 2x, it is so incredible. Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy wrote it, and I've probably read it 5 or 6 times at this point. That's how good the book is. And in the book, they talk about how so often we set 2x goals where we're like, you know what, I want a 20% improvement. I want to improve a little bit, because in our minds that's what we think is the next logical step. It's the easiest thing to do. But truly, if you set a 10x goal, one that is 10x what you're currently doing, it forces you to think bigger and to think simpler and more strategic, because with the 2x goal, there's probably a dozen ways or more to get there. But with the 10x goal, there's usually maybe a couple, but typically only one way to get to 10x. And so it's actually easier to aim for 10x than it is to aim for 2x, because there's not as many ways to get there. So that is really the angle that I looked at my business at last week. Is like, okay, how can I 10x this instead of 2x this? And the beautiful thing about 10x is that it requires less effort because you're thinking from a completely different way of thinking. So with 2x, it is like addition, okay? You're just piling more onto the plate. You're piling more, you're piling more. But 10x is actually subtraction. So you look at everything that's currently on your plate and you ask, okay, what actually needs to be here? What actually needs to be here? Not what somebody told me to put here, not what I think needs to be here, but what needs to be here. What is draining me? What is not actually moving the needle? And what would I have to let go of to make real space for the next level? That was one of the things that really blew my mind. Is I was like, I don't have space to have these, really amazing retainers and really amazing repeat clients, and to really pitch these amazing packages that I've put together for these, brands that I'm aiming towards. I don't have the space for them because I am running around like a chicken with my head cut off doing all this busy work. And it's really wild when you sit down and look at your business this way. So I want you to think about a rocket leaving the atmosphere, okay? The reason that it can break through and get to where it wants to go is not because it's adding more weight to the ship. It's dropping the fuel tanks that got it off of the ground. It's shedding what it no longer needs. And that is what makes the altitude possible. That's what makes it possible for the rocket ship to get to the next level. So when you ask the 10X question honestly, whether that is in your UGC business, and maybe you've got another business you're running, maybe it's in your personal life, there is something that you are like, I think I could set a 10X goal here. I want you to really look at the answer, and if you're being so brutally honest with yourself, the answer is almost never more work, right? It's never like, I just need to work harder. It's typically, I need to get more clear, I need to get more quiet, I need to get more intentional about what I'm letting into my calendar, into my mind, into my business. And the upgrade that you likely need, because this is what I needed, the upgrade that I needed was not in my business, it was in my brain. Okay, so what does this actually mean practically? You're like, okay, I hear you, all this sounds great, but I need some like tangible steps. I need to see what this looks like in practice. So I'm gonna tell you what I did. So I am currently reading a book. It is called The Artist's Way. It has been sitting on my shelf for probably about 3 years at this point. I've had so much resistance to it. I bought it, like I said, about 3 years ago. Someone recommended it to me, and I started reading it, and I was like, I don't have time for all that hubbo-jubbo, okay? That's for somebody else that has a lot of free time. Well, one of my mentors that I paid multiple 5 figures to be in her year-long mastermind, to be in proximity with her, she is currently going through the Artist's Way. It's a 12-week program within this book. And you want to talk about serious? She's one of the most serious people that I've ever met. So I'm like, okay, you know what? If she's doing it and she's getting results from it, then that has to be true for me too. So I've been going through the Artist's Way. And in week 4 of the Artist's Way, you do a consumption detox. So for 1 full week, you consume no podcasts, no TV, no courses, no reading, no nothing. You consume nothing. Nothing going into your brain except what's already in there. And I want to be really honest with you. I had so much resistance to this. I came up with all these excuses about how I couldn't do it, and oh, that's not possible for me, and oh, like I don't have time for that. I'm a learner, like I don't consume trash TV, I consume like these high quality podcasts. Like I had all these excuses, okay? And in the book, she goes, you're probably coming up with excuses right now. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And then she said, the people who resist this the most are typically the ones who get the most out of it. And so I was like, okay, I am so uncomfortable, and that means I'm gonna get so much out of this. And I will tell you, last week was so life-changing for me that I've actually decided to continue the consumption detox for a couple more weeks. I think I'm gonna do 3 weeks altogether, because the amount of creativity that has come out of me because I don't have noise just bombarding me 24/7 is crazy. I did not realize how much noise I had been living with. I did not realize how often I turned to noise to honestly self-soothe. If I came up with an issue in my business, or if I came up with, something in my business that I had a little resistance to, my initial thought was, oh, I just need to go listen to a module in the mastermind that I'm in. I'm in a couple masterminds. I just need to go listen to, what they say. I need to go listen to a podcast. I need to go, listen. I need to consume something instead of just pulling out of my well and being like, you know what, why don't I just try to create something? And here's the thing about UGC specifically that nobody talks about, okay? You might be like, okay, what does this have to do with UGC? Yes, there's admin. Yes, there's strategy and pitching and editing and delivering and following up, and all of that is incredibly important. That is so important. But underneath all of that, you are a creative. Like, you are genuinely an artist. That is your job. That is my job. And creatives need space. They need silence. They need their brain to actually rest so that it can generate something worth saying on camera. Like, the only reason that I was able to come up with this podcast episode today and why it has so much depth to it and I'm so passionate about it is because I created it from a place of silence so that I could hear my inner artist. So when you're constantly consuming, you're filling every available space in your brain. So your best hooks, your best on-camera moments, so your most natural energy, like things that have never been created before on the internet that make people stop and scroll, that make people follow you, that make brands want to hire you, they're not coming from a full brain. They are coming from a quiet one. They come, these moments come to you in the shower. They come to you on a walk. They come to you in the car with no podcast playing, with no music playing. Like, if you let your mind be quiet, good ideas, great ideas will come to you. You'll get these downloads. Within the book, they talk about how downloads come from the creator, and I truly believe that. And the way that I have opened up my brain to receive downloads and ideas is mind-blowing. That's why I'm going to continue this for the next 2 weeks at least, because it has been incredible. And moving forward, I'm going to be very intentional about my consumption. I am not going to overload my brain anymore, because I was using consumption as an easy way to feel productive without actually creating anything. Okay, so there's a difference between learning, being very intentional about learning, and then hiding behind learning. And I was absolutely hiding behind learning. I was like, I listen to podcasts all day. I take courses all day. Like, I have all this knowledge. It's like, okay, and do something with it. So moving forward, I'm going to really focus on like, okay, I'm going to read one business book at a time. I'm going to read one fun book at a time. I'm going to listen to one podcast episode a day. I'm going to consume one module in the morning when I'm doing my, my journaling and my reading. I'm going to sit down and listen to 30 minutes of one module. Like, I'm not going to have all of this noise coming in. And it's not because learning is bad. I am a lifelong learner. I will never be done learning. I love learning. But if you are constantly consuming, you're drowning out the inner artist inside of you, and it's the only voice that actually matters in your business, because we are creatives. So I want you to audit what you're letting into your brain the same way that you would audit what you're putting in your body, what you're putting in your car, what you're putting in all these different places. I want you to also audit what you're putting into your brain, because it affects your output exactly the same way. Now, I am not a wellness coach, okay? That's not my lane. I'm not going to tell you like what to eat. I'm not going to tell you how to work out, nothing like that. But I will tell you this, the way that you feel is how you run your business. And if you are running your business on a depleted brain and a depleted body, you are leaving money on the table every single day. I want you to think about what you're actually selling as a UGC creator. You're not selling the deliverable, okay? You're not selling a 30-second video. You're not selling a 60 seconds of raw footage. You are selling your presence. You are selling your energy, your ability to make someone stop the scroll and feel something. The best hook in the world is going to mean nothing if your energy is not there, okay? That is what you are selling. That is the product, and the product runs on you and how you feel. So for me personally, this looks like protecting a couple things with like my life depends on it, okay? And it's not because I like want to be selfish or, I want to come off as, oh, this is all about me. But I have seen what happens in my business when I don't protect these things. And I've seen what happens not only in my business, but in other people's businesses. I have mentors that are making $1 million in a day, and they are doing this very work. They are protecting these very things, like literally like their life depends on it. So for me personally, Pilates and walks are a non-negotiable. End of discussion. And it's not because of how they make me look, which I do think that they make me look really good. Like, I feel like Pilates is changing my freaking body, okay? But I've made it a priority, but even more so moving forward, it's going to be such a priority because of how it makes me think. movement is genuinely where my best creative ideas live. I'm telling you, after a 30-minute walk and 30 minutes of Pilates, I'm like having to hold myself back. I feel like a cheetah. I'm like, I've got to it's like I need to go hunt. I need to go create something. I'm like, I have got to go create right now. Hooks feel effortless, stories flow. The on-camera energy that I bring, that is what brands want more of. Like, I can tell on days when I'm lit up, the content that I deliver, brands are like, no revisions, incredible, let's work again. And I could film the exact same thing, the exact same script on a day where I don't feel great and it's gonna flop. It's because that energy is what they are buying. The version of me that shows up after I move my body is 10 times better on camera than the version of me that shows up after I've worked at a desk for 6 hours, okay? And look, I get it. We all have moments where we have to sit at a desk for 6 hours. I'm about to sit at a desk for 6 hours. That's why I'm filming before, because I just walked, I did Pilates, I got my electrolytes in, I had a high protein breakfast. Like, I am feeling incredible. Now, the other thing I'm protecting at all costs is sleep. I have been in bed by 8 or 8:30. I've really honestly been doing this the past couple of weeks, but last week I locked it in, and I'm telling you, it has been a game changer for my business and my content. I know it sounds extreme until you realize, like, your on-camera presence, your pitches, your clarity, your creative output, and your emotional regulation, they're all directly tied to how rested you are. And like, tired creators make tired content. And tired creators don't get rehired, okay? They don't attract brands in. I'm telling you, and I have friends that do this too, and I can tell when, because they post every single day, multiple times a day, and I can tell when they're kind of feeling sluggish, and then I can tell when they are lit up, like when they've just finished a workout and they just had a download. I'm like, oh, they're feeling good. They're on their, like, you know, just got done with Pilates high. And you can tell it comes across on camera. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to do Pilates and walk and go to bed at 8:30, do all these things, but you do need to figure out what your things are, whatever it takes for you to feel your best, and then invest in that, because that is your product. Like, you are genuinely the product, and the better you feel, the better it's going to perform, and the more your business is going to grow. So it's quite literally worth it for you to invest in yourself, because your energy and your presence are the product. Okay, now, I say this for last because this is really, I think, going to change the game for you, because it's really changed the game for me. Now, here's the problem with the way most of us try to fix our mindset, okay? So we try to leap. We try to go from, like, I'm struggling and absolutely nothing is working, straight to I'm abundant and everything comes straight to me. You know, affirmations. I do believe in affirmations. I think sometimes people just say, I'm going to do an affirmation, and they don't take the action. I think affirmations are incredibly important as long as action follows, okay? And so when we just jump straight to I'm abundant and everything comes to me, our brain probably doesn't believe it, okay? Our nervous system's like, that's new and dangerous, or it's new and unfamiliar, so I'm going to count it as dangerous. I'm going to view it as dangerous, and we're going to avoid that at all costs, okay? So you actually, like, keep yourself from the abundance when you jump thoughts, when you jump beliefs so quickly. And your brain is it's not going to just not believe it. It's going to actually search for evidence that you were right to doubt yourself in the first place. Like, when you try to convince yourself to believe something that you don't really believe, your mind is going to go, oh, she doesn't really believe that, so let's look for evidence to support that. You're literally going to prove yourself right by being unabundant. Is that a word? By being the opposite of what you're going for if you jump thoughts too quickly. So instead of leaping, I want you to just try climbing. You can think of climbing a rope. You can think of climbing a rock, mountain, whatever it is. I want you to just think one step at a time, something that your brain can actually believe. So for me personally, when I originally thought of making 20K months, in my mind, I did not believe that was possible for me. Just like flat out, I didn't. And so I started with one thought. I was like, you know what? I am looking for evidence that this may be possible for me. I'm just looking for evidence that this may be possible for me. And so when I started to do that, I was like, oh, well, you know what? It's possible for all these other creators, so maybe it is possible for me. You know, at one point I was not making any money at all off of UGC, and now I'm making, you know, close to $10,000 a month. It is, maybe there is evidence that this is possible for me. And so I just started to look for evidence. I was like, I don't quite believe it yet, but I am looking for evidence. And then you can go to the next step, go to the next thought of like, right now, this is what I am working on. This is the belief that I'm repeating over and over again, is it only makes sense that after all this effort I've put in, things are starting to work. It only makes sense, of course. Of course, after all this effort, things are starting to work. And then my next thought, once I really feel like I've got that one down, okay, not there yet, it still makes me break out a little bit. My next thought is going to be, of course things work out for me. Look at the evidence. Of course they work out. Look at the evidence. So here is why this works. Your brain is always collecting evidence to confirm what you already believe. Okay, so if you believe that things are getting better, you're just looking for evidence that things are getting better, your brain is going to start finding it. So the pitch that you get a response for, the content piece that like takes off, the brand that comes back, those little small wins that you probably would have just not even paid attention to before. You would probably be like, okay, cool, check that off my list. All those little things, all of a sudden your brain starts working for you instead of against you, and it goes, hey, that's evidence. That is evidence that this is working. That is evidence that this is possible for you. That is evidence that you can get to 20K months. So the creators who stay in this industry long term, they're not just the most talented or the most strategic. They're the ones who learned how to manage their minds. I'm telling you, our minds can be like a jungle. And if we can learn how to manage our minds, I truly think we can change our lives. I have changed my life simply by working on my mind so much. It has been a journey. It has been a process. It has not been fun. It has not been easy. And it's also been so worth it. It's a skill. It's learnable. And it's worth every bit of the effort that it takes to put in. Okay, so if you're sitting here and you're like, I don't think that, I can't even take in what you're telling me. Like, my capacity is not at the point where I can hear any of this. I get it. I too have been in that position, and it's worth getting started. So just work on those, you know, think of it like a rope thought. You're like, I'm just going up one rung at a time, one rung at a time. Now, you know, I love to leave with some tangible action steps that you can do. Okay, so today, I want you to do an audit, not of your business, but of your life. And I want you to ask yourself, like, where is the noise coming from? Where am I consuming things just to fill space instead of actually like feeding my brain? I'm just filling my brain. What does your body need to actually show up at its best? And then what is one ladder thought, just one, that your brain can actually believe today? Maybe it's not 20K months are possible for me, but what do you believe right now? And then what is just like one belief that is like one step up? What's the next belief? And then I want you to write this down. I am looking for evidence that blank, and fill in the blank. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no, I would say anything that's better than the other. For me right now, I am looking for evidence that this is possible for me. I am looking for evidence that my life just keeps getting better and better. I am looking for evidence that I am the top UGC creator in the country. I am looking for evidence that I'm the top UGC coach in the country. Like, those are thoughts that every single day I say over and over again. I journal them over and over again. And my brain is like, okay, I am looking for evidence. And when I write that over and when I truly believe it, every little thing that comes to me is evidence. It's literally the things I would normally just let fly right by. I'm like, oh wait, there's evidence. There's evidence. There's evidence. And that is how you build the life that you really want. So I want you to fill in that blank, and then I want you to start looking. Just like be so open and curious, because the evidence is already there. I'm quite confident that the evidence is already there. You just need to train your brain to actually see it. Okay, so your current strategy is not the ceiling. Your future strategy is not the ceiling. You are your brain, the way you think and what you believe. And the good news is it's honestly quite easy to upgrade your brain. It really is. It's easy to do it, but the things that are easy to do are just as easy not to do. So we covered a lot of ground today, okay? We covered a lot of really good stuff. I'm telling you, it has shifted my business. And I also go way deeper for my students inside of UGC Unlocked, the starter system. I'm actually adding in an advanced section, and right now I'm working on a module that really goes deep into how you can apply the 10x is easier than 2x principles to your UGC business. So I go deep into how to use the consumption audit, how to use the ladder thoughts, how to use the belief shift, how to use all of this to actually grow your UGC business and get paid consistently. I break all of it down in depth. So if you are already a student, be on the lookout for that. It is so juicy. I was going to record it today, but I just kept adding things last night, and I was like, I don't want to rush this because this is going to change their lives. And so be on the lookout for that soon. And if you are not a student, the link is in the description. I would absolutely love to see you inside. It is genuinely, in my opinion, one of the most value-packed UGC courses on the planet, I would say, because I don't just give you more more information. I actually show you how to implementation through transformation. So it is just, I'm so passionate about it. It's like my little baby. I want to take such good care of it, and I want it to continue to grow and continue to bring you more value. Okay, that is all I've got for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. New episodes come out every single week. If this one hit, I want you to share it with a creator friend. I would love for you to leave me a review, follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, and with that, I will see you next week.